Hello and welcome. In the spirit of my brand new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, I've been on a quest for truth. What does it actually take to create real, lasting transformation? And here you are on the precipice of something big. I don't think that's a coincidence that we should ignore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. This is where true growth and transformation happens when the right person says the right thing at the right time and it all clicks. Those are the moments that make all the difference, and that is what this summit is here for. You're going to hear from some incredible experts who every single one I personally invited to be here. So listen with an open heart, do what they say, take what resonates, try the practices, get their free gifts, and let this space be the place where you find your next step. My name is Talia Joy. I'm your host. And if you want all the free gifts, the resources, and the only place where you can be entered for prizes, you can join the Insider Circle for free below. All right, without further ado, take a deep breath in. Think about what you are transforming, what you are here for. And let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Sarah. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. How are you doing today, my friend?
I am so good after some technical hiccups like we have in this day and age. It feels so good to be here present with you and to be sharing something that I think is potentially life-changing.
Yeah, this is going to be such a good conversation. And I know something that a lot of people, I'm sure, can actively relate to right now, going through heartbreak, going through transition, relationships ending. But of course, we can all relate to those times in our lives and just what we can learn from it. So I'm really excited that you're here today. And I wanted you in this summit because of this. I feel like this is such a specific topic that isn't always supported. And it's hard to know, how to be moving and transforming and healing. But I'm going through heartbreak and my heart hurts and I feel, in shambles. And it's something that we can't ignore, our circumstances. So I really wanted your voice in this to speak, especially to those people going through it now who are also on a self-growth and healing path. And this comes along and it obviously triggers a lot. So I'm excited for you to, be here. And I'm just really grateful. So thank you again.
Thank you. And I thought this was such a slam dunk fit for both of us because every time I went through a heartbreak, I went through big life transformations. I always turned to personal growth of how can I grow from this? And so this hopefully is meeting some people right where they need it. Or I've seen the other thing happen where people go through personal growth and it creates the ending of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And relationships, we'll dive into it. I'll let you speak to it, but they are so much of who we are. And the way I see it almost spiritually is like our biggest teachers come through our relationships, whether it's our parents, our children, romantic relationships, friendships, all of it. So it's such an important topic. Thank you so much. Let's just start at the beginning. Why don't we start with just, you sharing a little bit about who you are and the work that you do?
Yeah. So I came to my work. I had already been a life coach for a number of years at the point that I had this fork in the road moment. My relationship ended. We were living together and we had been talking about getting married and having kids and buying a house. And it very suddenly turned. He came to me and he said, "I love you, Sarah. I don't see a life with you anymore." And there was, of course, devastation because in like one sentence, my whole future is gone. And also there was like 2% relief of deep down, I knew he was saying the truth of we had both gone as far as we could go in that relationship. And I don't know about him, but I had more growing to do and it wasn't going to happen there. And I had this decision point of I can process this breakup the way that I've processed every breakup in the past of, drinking too much and crying to my friends and trying to get back into dating and beating myself up, all the self-attack of what did I do wrong? How did I break this? How is this my fault? Taking responsibility for it. And I knew where that path was going to go. It was going to go down this road of 6 months of being unfocused and feeling terrible and being boring to my friends and all of that stuff that I think is really relatable. And then feeling like I was just be stuck for 6 months. I was like, I know where that's going to go. What if I just do the exact opposite? And I was grabbing for life rafts in every direction. I booked a trip to Cuba. I joined a women's embodiment group. And so it was like I was seeking all this support in all these various ways, but I did everything with this intention of how can this help me to heal or how can this help me to grow? And it was like this trip to Cuba. I was in such a place of like vibrancy in amidst destruction. That place is falling apart. And I was like, look at how much life there is through the rubble. And it was such an inspiration to me of like, we can keep creating, we can keep living, we can keep feeling alive. And I really leaned into that and found this path that I don't think anybody talks about when it comes to breakups of how do we heal our heart, but also still feel alive? Like, how do we still find pleasure even when there's pain? So, how do we walk both paths? And I found that I was healing faster. I felt better. I was I was personally growing. I was really grieving instead of just thinking about my grief. And I decided more people need to know about this, and that's how I really started my business.
Wow, that's beautiful, because just everything you're saying is so relatable. And we go into our coping strategies when we don't know how to process what we feel. And
Yep,
that's okay. We all have nervous systems. That's what we do. But using it as a portal, and I know everybody listening, you were that way, right? Like something happens and it's like there's this part of reacting, but then also we want to grow through it. I always say, grow through what you go through. And that is exactly what you're embodying to do with relationships, and it's so beautiful. Yeah, that's such a powerful thing. So just out of curiosity, when you're going, or when you're coaching people now going through this, is there some sort of almost pattern that you see? Like at first we do just need to cry and feel our feels, and then I'd love to hear about just your experience in that and what you see over time and how you help people.
totally. So I teach a 4-step system. I call it my hot mess to badass.
Nice.
Hmm.
Love that.
Yeah. So, and you put it so perfectly of like every phase is going to require something different for your healing or for your growth. So that hot mess phase, and you can think about it like the transition of a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's exactly the same thing that a caterpillar and a butterfly goes through. That first phase, a caterpillar goes into the cocoon, and this was amazing when I learned this, but it turns into goo. It completely dissolves its structure. So if you didn't know that, surprise.
Mhm.
And that's how it feels. Like right after a breakup, you just feel like I don't have bones. I don't have any will to do anything. I feel like I'm just surviving. And what I say, if you're in that hot mess phase, that's okay. Welcome it. Welcome the falling apart because you are shedding the old stuff, that old identity of who you used to be, that caterpillar version of you that doesn't have to come along to this next phase. And when you're in that, what's beautiful is that caterpillar, when it's goo, it has the support of the cocoon. So, what you need in that first phase is what is your personal cocoon? Is it a space in your home, right? Like, I was still living with my ex for a couple of weeks after the split. And so I just took over the second bedroom. And that was my space and that was my sanctuary. And I filled it with pillows and a nice smelling candle and a stuffed animal and like a noise machine so that I could cry and feel like there's distraction and I could soothe myself. You can create any kind of like a support structure. So that's the hot mess phase. And so you want to think about what's my support structure and what's my comfort? Where am I going to go for comfort? The second phase, it happens quite naturally. A lot of us, this is the phase where breakup bangs happen. So if you go and you're like, I'm going to change my whole hairstyle, I'm going to get a new wardrobe, I'm going to start working out,
Oh,
right? Like,
bangs. I thought you said bangs, like Hookups,
Oh, no, no, no. I guess you
breakup
could.
bangs. I was like, oh,
Maybe.
girl, maybe
No, like the
both.
new haircut. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Or
Break.
whatever. No judgment.
Yeah, right. Totally. I think that could probably be in this phase too.
That's awesome. Breakup
Yeah.
bangs. Got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, when you get that new hairstyle after a breakup.
Totally.
Um, we are starting to figure out who am I after the relationship. So that's phase two. You're sort of
Mm.
like dreaming and you're sort of feeling your way through it of figuring out like, am I in my revenge body era? Right? Like, what is it that you're becoming? The third phase, which is honestly the hardest phase, and it's where a lot of people tend to go back to their ex because it is the struggle. It's the phase for the butterfly where it's trying to break out of the cocoon. Now, the struggle the butterfly goes through is it's like kicking its little legs and moving its wings. It's pushing against the walls of the cocoon. And I want you to imagine that in your own mind of like what that might be like. And if you were to come across it in nature, you're like, oh, I'm going to help it out. I'm going to cut it out of the cocoon and like fly free, little friend. Right. But if we did that, the butterfly would actually die because it needs the struggle to build muscle to live. So in our personal life, where we start struggling of like, I'm still thinking about my ex all the time. I'm, having these memories that keep coming up, or I keep thinking about how great it was, and I keep going back to my thoughts in my past. The struggle is that you're trying to create a new life and you're trying to create new patterns and new habits for this next level you. And so that can be hard. It can be I thought this was going to be easier. I thought I'd be over it by now. And it's okay that it's a struggle because you're building new muscles for your next level self. You're building new neural pathways, new ways of thinking, new habits and patterns of he's not the person you call when you have a good day. You call somebody else, right? And so that's all the struggle in the third phase. So if people are there and they're listening to this and they're like, why isn't this easier? It's okay. The struggle's part of it. It's okay for it to be a little hard. And the final phase is the butterfly phase. It's the badass phase. It's the one where you're like, yes, like that was all worth it. And I've found a way to turn this into the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I just have to say it because for those of you listening that came from this show and are part of the community, Sarah, some of the things you're saying, my literal book, the reason that this summit happened, The Delicate Art of Transformation, follows the
Yeah.
cycle of the butterfly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah. So I'm
taught
sure
for
it's,
years on the goo phase. I literally call it
yep.
that. There's a whole section in the book.
Yep.
And then even that, one of the chapters starts with like a man on a bench watching a butterfly try to struggle and he helps him out, but the butterfly wasn't ready, and how you can't rush your goo phase and you can't rush your transformation. So some of the stuff you're saying, my literal soul is like, yes,
I
because
love that.
these processes it's truth. It happens. That's why so many of us do draw inspiration from nature, from trees, from butterflies, because it's true. And so when you apply it to something like you are in heartbreak and applying that alchemy, it just gives me goosebumps, because for anyone listening going through this, it's resonating with everything Sarah's saying. This is the real medicine to grow through what you go through. And so I just wanted to kind of point to that and just say this is so up our alley. And I love that this is also the way that you teach and help people. It's beautiful. I also love just in the phases allowing yourself to be in that hot mess, because at first things are up and down, and it reminds me of the phases of grief. I'm curious if there's a parallel there with heartbreak or where grief comes into it. But just allowing yourself to be in that is so important, and to see it as phases, like seasons, and another phase will come. But right now, if you feel sad or you feel, it's hard in that third phase, that it's okay. It's part of the process. So I just wanted to reflect that. I love that. So what would you say is the connection to grief? Is there a grief element when it comes to heartbreak and all of
Yeah.
that?
100%. I think any of those big emotions that we all tend to feel very uncomfortable around, grief, rage, jealousy, heartbreak, like heartbreak is pain, basically. Like those all come up. And I love the basis of the seven phases of grief. I think there's some like conversation lately of like, are those really a thing? I like to talk about all of our emotions like a wave. right? So rather than thinking of like you're going to have a cycle of grief, because it's not linear, but we're going to have a wave of any kind of feeling. And I see you're nodding. I'm guessing, is this something that you teach too?
No, no, I just
Okay.
agree. It's true. It's
Yeah.
not linear, it's cyclical and fluid.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to have moments of intensity where we feel that emotion kind of like rise to the surface. And then it's at its peak, like a wave, where it's the biggest and the most intense. And then if we can allow that wave to happen, if we allow the emotion to happen without story, without judgment, without shame, all that takes practice. But if it'll just drop, it'll, what's the downside of a wave? It crests and then it,
Crashes?
I don't know, it crashes. Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go.
It comes down.
Yeah,
But
it
that
comes down.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, there are moments, especially in the beginning for a little while, where it feels like those waves are coming really close, one after another, one after another, one after another. And the more you do the work and you allow yourself to go through this process, the waves become farther and farther apart.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really powerful because it's disheveling at first,
Yeah,
it's your whole identity. And, like you said, it touched on something. It's like, that's not the person you call anymore. And, I remember those feelings of just trying to adjust to it all. I'd love to ask you about, for anyone listening again that's resonating, going through some of these phases, can relate deeply. What are some of the things that we can learn? It's almost how I want to phrase it. Like in this time of heartbreak and transition, what are just some of the things that we're learning about ourselves and life in that time from your perspective?
I think something that's unique that we get to learn. I have a few things, but one of them that came to me right away was that it's okay to mourn and to grieve something that hasn't happened.
Mm,
Because the dreams that we have with our partner are very real. And I think that's one of the places where people get stuck of like, we were planning to run an Airbnb together in Maine and have this amazing life, right? Like we had this big dream of what it was going to be. Or for me, it was, like we'd grow old and be sitting on the porch holding hands, watching our grandkids play. Like we talked about that all the time. Even though it didn't happen, we get to mourn the dream. We can still have grief over something that hasn't happened, and that's very valid. I think people get stuck because they're like, it's not real, it didn't happen, but it's real in your mind. And that is something that you get to grieve if it feels like that's there. So that's one of the first things that came to mind.
yeah, it's that letting go. And I can relate it to dreams or
A
intentions you
hundred percent.
have and goals you might have or whatever that you start to loosen your grip on. And then one day go, you know what? I don't even know if I want that anymore. And there's this weird, but yeah, and so it is it's like that mourning stage. I
Yeah,
also feel like with relationships, I'd be curious to hear your take. We're always learning, especially romantic relationships, like we're talking about, what we want and what we don't want
100%.
more of in a relationship. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I when it comes to relationships, sometimes we get really attached to the person in terms of like, I had this dream that I was going to be a mother and it was going to be with him, right? And we think the dream is attached to the person, but it's not.
Hmm.
It's your dream. And what I help people to do is we look at like what version of you got to show up in that relationship that you like? What do you want to keep? Like, did that person bring out your playful side? Did that person bring out your adventuresome side? Like you went camping all the time, or, you did like sports together or whatever. Like, what sides of yourself got expressed? And it's not about the other person, it's actually you. That person just helped you tap into that part. Like you were saying, it's a mirror, right? They're not the fun, they're not the adventure. They just were reflecting that back to you, and you loved that in yourself. And that's what gets to come with you. You also get to look at what parts of me did I not like? that I don't want to come with me. And, for a lot of women I work with, I was over giving, I was overextending, I was taking care of his emotions way too much. I was prioritizing him and his dreams, and I was pretzeling myself to fit into that. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be the one who has dreams. I want to be the one that gets to say what my life looks like, and somebody gets to come along with me, not me trying to shoehorn myself into somebody else's life.
I love that. I'm a sucker for a reflection, but I love how, because I can just feel that, oh, we were going to do this, or, oh, I love the way we would travel, or I
Yep.
loved, like you said, who I became. We were playful. They introduced me to new things. It was fun to try new stuff, whatever it is. That's a piece of you that you can now move forward with that gift of illumination in a way, So I really like that. And I think about, as we're talking, my first marriage, because it was really hard to leave. We had a baby. We had literally just bought a house and had like a housewarming party. We're handing out appies, and I'm in my head going like, I need to leave him. It was a very hard decision. It was very tough. And, all of them are. And some people, anyway, breakups happen in lots of different reasons. But I felt like what you said in the beginning when you were telling your story, that growth had to happen within me and I couldn't do it there. I felt like I always would say our darkness preyed on each other, and it felt like
Oh,
I was
yeah.
trying, but it was substances and alcohol and just a darkness that I felt like I couldn't escape with him, even though it's not on him. It was still that. So I'm just really feeling you as you say, in this time of alchemy and time of breakup, we see our light, but we also see some of the things that we may want to work on within ourselves as well, because relationships do that. They squeeze out funny things in us. And yeah, curious to hear your perspective.
Yeah. And I think the more that, as I keep thinking about this as alchemy, right? It's the process of turning lead into gold, right? And
Mm.
I see so many people take their breakup from a perspective of shame. And I'm ashamed either of how I showed up, or I'm ashamed that it ended, or
That it didn't work out
that
or
it didn't
something.
work out, or I couldn't keep a man. I hear that one a lot, of like, there's something wrong with me, is sort of that underlying phase. And I think everything out there currently about how to get over a breakup reinforces that, which is why we're getting stuck in these loops of staying in a relationship too long that we knew a long time ago that we should have left, right? Because we're judging ourselves. We're in this rumination loop of like, what am I doing wrong? How can I fix this? How can I be better? And it's a lot of self attack. And most of the breakup advice out there, it's like, I think it's very reinforcing to either like give it time, which means don't do anything, like just wait it out and it'll change on its own. And we all know personal growth doesn't happen when you wait it out. Or, love yourself more, which is so abstract. It is so
Yeah.
abstract and not helpful. It's not tangible.
Yeah.
Like, what are the steps to that? What does it look like? What does that mean? Or like rebuild your self trust and self confidence. Where I'm like, the concept's right of we start to question ourselves, but what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when we start when we start putting that shame on top of all of it, man, I'm sorry. I was like, I heard your question and I was like, oh, it feels like this moment where we're all shaming ourselves so much and
Mm-hmm.
learning how to stop that pattern,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have the courage to look the shame in the eye and be like, there's nothing wrong with me. This is just a part of me that wants love too.
Mm.
I'm doing the best I can. I'm still learning. I'm still growing through this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be perfect. Like, I'm never going to be perfect. That's not the expectation here.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to learn how to love the parts of myself that maybe I'm not always proud of.
Yeah. I think that shame piece, it's important because we do it to ourselves, oh, by this age, I should be at this, I'm getting a
Yeah.
divorce or I have a breakup in my 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. we have these expectations of ourselves. And like you said, what's wrong with me? And, energetically, I just really see people, and especially romantic partners, it's very much like friends. Like if you went to a party and you met 25 new people, you might have one person that you kind of go like, oh, they were cool. And like, oh, our kids go to the same school, or just we might do yoga. She does yoga too, or whatever. People you click with and people you don't. And so with relationships, I think too, trying to take the personal responsibility out of it to almost be like, well, our energies didn't gel at the end of it. It
Hmm.
didn't, it's more of like an energetic thing, not a something wrong with you thing. And I think as you're touching on, so many of us default into like, oh, if I, didn't work so much, or if I weighed less, or if I whatever, they would have stayed with me. And I just look at it like, no, if your whole relationship was on you losing 20 pounds, then it's not your soulmate anyway. Or, it's like it's just not to do with you. It's about energies, and they're not always going to match and mesh for life.
Yeah.
Curious to hear your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of one of my clients who she came to me. She'd been divorced for 3 years and was really judging herself of like, did I let go of a good man? And did I leave for no good reason? And she couldn't even call him her ex because she was scared to use that word because then it was final and she couldn't go back. And like, then she'd have to really admit, I do want more. And this really is over. And they had a daughter together. And what she found was she's just really scared to claim more for her life.
Mm.
She wants a big ass life. She wants to be a singer songwriter. She wants to have her music heal people who feel like they don't have a place where they belong. Like she wants to be the voice for those people. And in her relationship, they were friends. He's a nice guy. He was supportive. But she wanted to do the personal growth work to keep growing. And he straight up told her, like, I don't want to grow anymore. I can't do anymore. I can't. And that was the moment she knew she had to leave. But she couldn't do that. She could block all of that out. All she could see was like, I made the wrong choice. Should I go back to him? This is a nice guy. There's nothing wrong with him. And her soul kept going, I want more, I want more, I want more. And she did this thing after I gave her some coaching homework, and she got a part-time job teaching music to kids after school. That wasn't the assignment. That's how she interpreted it. She got this part-time job, and it reignited that part in her. She was like, oh, I want to make an impact. I want to help people's lives, and I want to do it through music. It like reignited who she is at her core, and she tapped into it, and she just finally started calling him her ex and knowing like that was a really beautiful relationship for what it was. It got me to that point. I'm going farther. And that relationship wasn't interested in going farther, but I am. And so it doesn't have to come with me.
That's powerful. Yeah, and I can feel that back and forth. Oh, should I have, and sometimes there are things to sort out. Sometimes it's our coping strategies that could, whatever. But in this conversation, it's like, that they're not your forever person. We're moving on, and those emotions, those strings attached, it's tough to grapple with and know what to
Yeah.
do. But I love the way that you're speaking about it and coaching her through that to kind of be able to let it rest. And, again, we're only going to fully click with so many people in this life. And so sometimes just acknowledging they may be really nice and good job. You chose a great partner, but that doesn't always mean that they have that like Shakti energy in your relationship to take it the distance, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Absolutely. And I never tell people what they should do. I
Yeah.
never direct people one way or the other. I'm not attached to what the result is. I actually had another client who started at the exact same time who had left her husband. It was an amazing story. She left her husband. She slept on a friend's couch with her daughter for a little while, found her dream apartment, found her dream job. Like she lined up her life so fast in about 3 months. And then decided she's like, I actually think I really want to give him another shot. Like he is talking to me differently. He's listening. He's showing up different, and they're giving it another try. So I have
Mhm.
no attachment to whether you go back to your ex. I'm happy for you. Whether you decide I want to keep going on this solo path. I'm happy for you. Like whatever the path is, I want to support where your soul is calling and help you listen and get out of the back and forth, like you said, like the wishy-washy, like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, where it feels like you're not steering through your life. I want to help create that clarity for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with anything, when we're wishy-washy, there's more at play. And that's the time, as you're saying, where we grow through what we go through. We do our work, and you may arrive back into each other's lives, or maybe not. That time, though, is a great sort of solution for a lot of people, or not solution, but to give it that space for you to
Right.
pour back into yourself, or for you to, discover things. Yeah, that's really powerful. So I want to ask, what about for people who are a little bit outside of the breakup, but maybe it was a marriage or a longer term thing, or it's been maybe a couple of years. So I'm really just seeing like the people that are starting to find themselves again, starting to come back into, okay, what do I want, and all that, and sort of that energy of how we really, step in fearlessly into that, and for the people that are ready for that.
Those are the people I love working with the most. The ones that are like, I think I'm waking up to my life for the first
Mhm.
time of I was going through the motions of doing everything I thought I was supposed to do, or I thought I was playing it by the rules. And guess what? I don't want to follow those rules anymore. But um, oh no, like now what? Right? It kind of opens up this other whole world of oh no, there are so many more options and that's a little scary. It's stepping into the unknown. How do I even decide which direction I want to go or what rules I want to break or how do I create this new life for myself? Um, and those are the people, I mean, like they really do light me up. The ones where I'm like, all right, game on. Let's play here. Let's experiment. Let's see where these things go. It's like we become these hunters of aliveness of like,
Mm.
where are you coming alive in conversation? Where am I hearing your desire? And then we follow the paths. I'm very visual in the way that I work, and I see almost like stalking through the jungle, looking for the animal, following the tracks, and watching the person come alive more and more and more as we work together.
Beautiful. So it's really about in that phase, kind of like you say, searching or discovering what makes you feel alive, what maybe even makes you feel like you separate from the couple. You become
Yes.
Jane and John, and now who are you without that other person? And searching for that aliveness. I really love that. That sounds very
And it's
awesome.
so much easier to do it with another person,
Mm,
like because I can pay attention and watch and see the sparks so much easier than a person can see it for themselves. We
mhm,
often will like shrug off, yeah, like, yeah, I'm good at music, it's whatever. Like it's fun. I do it as a hobby. I'm pretty good at it. And then I will see something and I'll be like, no, your eyes just lit up, or no, your voice just changed, or your breathing shifted. Let's talk about that more. Don't downplay your accomplishments, or don't downplay what's easy for you.
mhm.
And I can reflect that back to somebody so that we can really pursue it and see what's there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it is so helpful. That's why coaching, mentorship, that type of thing, it's less about having someone tell you what to do. Like you said, you don't tell people what to do, but giving you tools and guide and reflect. And it's powerful. I think of it like two minds in your life. Like, why would I
Yeah.
not want someone else's mind hashing out whether it's my business, my breakup, when you need that? It just really helps you to move forward. I definitely agree with that. This has been so good. So, as we start to wrap up, I'd love to hear if there's anything unsaid when it comes to the alchemy of heartbreak, and for anyone going through this time, any of the phases, and it come, in respect to their own personal transformation. What else is left to say?
Yeah. Alchemy is powerful because we know the path. We're going from lead to gold. And it is so much easier when you know where you're going, of like, I know what the gold looks like for me. So often we go through life being pushed by fear or pain, right? Like I'm trying not to feel pain. I'm trying not to feel fear, or this pain is pushing me forward. When really what we want to look for is what is our gold so that it can pull us towards it. That's how alchemy works, right? Of like, it knows that transformation process to pull towards gold. It's not turning it into an amethyst or rose quartz or something. It's going to gold. It's very specific. And so I think it's really important that we start thinking about, it's why I was talking about the dreams, of like the dreams that you had with your ex. Which ones do you want to keep for yourself, that you want to keep working towards for your own life? Or what dreams did you not get to explore with that person? And so that you're pulling towards this badass version of yourself, so that you're going somewhere specific, right? You don't put just any old destination into a GPS. You know where you are at the beginning, and you have to know where you're going at the end. And that's how we create the path.
I love that. That's really powerful. And I think without that awareness that you help your clients with, it's easy to just be in that goo and rolling around. And, I'll say sometimes it's like, feels like you're like covered in slime rolling around on a tarp, like without knowing, like I'm just trying to find what, I don't know. And I hear you, just knowing that gold, knowing where you're headed in that way. And even just knowing, it'll get better. There are these phases, we can allow them to happen. It's cheesy, but it's like it doesn't last forever. But I really love the way that you're framing this, and it's so powerful. Thank you so much for this conversation. It's been so good, and I know that it's going to help so many people that are going through this. It's a time of alchemy, a time of healing, time of transformation while going through a breakup. So thank you again.
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me and for having the conversation.
Yeah, it's very powerful, the work you do. And you have a free gift for us. Can you share with us a little bit about the free gift?
I do. So I'm giving something very free to your summit people. Not very free, very special.
Very free. It's very free, extra free. Yeah, a little free. It's a little free.
It's a 10-day Forget Your Ex program. So forget your ex in 10 days. I created this because I saw people make changes very, very quickly if you followed the right order and you did the right steps. So I created 10 days where you'll get a video, an assignment every day, and you will really feel like a new person at the end of it. Even I've had people go through that at all age groups that were like, I don't think this is going to work for me. And they get to the end and they're like, oh, okay. This is different. So that's why I'm saying it's very free, because I'm very excited for it to be out in the world and for people to get that.
Yay. Thank you so much. That is so powerful. I love too how you're combining, practices and videos and day by day, because that stuff really helps you to bite it off one at a time and go through the layers. And oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for the gift. And this week, one very special person is also winning something. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm going to do a 90-minute breakthrough call where I will create your breakup map with you, right? Just like I said, a GPS, you got to know where you're starting and where you're going. I'm going to paint those pictures for you, and I'm going to help you see the steps along the way, and also let you know, like, here are the areas where this could get sticky. These are your challenge points. Plan ahead. Let's plan ahead for those, so that you have a full roadmap for your own transformation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Those are both so valuable, so value packed. So I will put the link for the gift and Sarah's links we're going to talk about in a second in the show notes. If you guys are part of the Insider Circle already, it's already in your inbox. Sarah's free, the course that she is gifting us. And if anyone does want to follow along, where do you hang out online? Where are the best places to find you?
Absolutely. So I am on Instagram at Sarah Curnoles. So you can just find me there under my name. Or I have a podcast myself. It's called Breakup Pep Talks.
Nice. Beautiful. So I will put those links below. Thank you again, Sarah, just for the work you do. It's so valuable for all of those going through this time. It's just so important to help them to grow through what you go through. And I just really appreciate the work you do. And thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Transformation Summit. Make sure to take what this guest said, implement it into your life, check the show notes for their gift and to follow along on the journey, and make sure to tune in to the next guest episode. Namaste.